Former Hoops coach Katie Meyer continues to make an impact on campus in a new way.
Plus, surprise at the plate. Johnny Mushin will tell us how a special guest made an appearance at the Student Home Run Derby on this week's Behind the Post.
And finally, making big waves. Our athlete of the week shares his experience diving at one of the world's biggest stages.
All that and more.
Sports Desk starts right now.
I'm Ed Reed, and you're watching Sports Desk.
Hi, I'm Jim Kelly, former UM guy. You're watching Sports Desk.
What's up? I'm DJ Williams, and y'all watching Sports Desk.
Hello and welcome to the first episode of Sports Desk for the semester. I'm Penelope Gilbert.
And I'm Jordan Cerullo. Thank you for joining us. Penelope, Canes men's basketball has not been looking so hot for the past year, and they finally turned things around on Saturday against Notre Dame.
For sure, Jordan. We're always glad to see some signs of life out of these Canes. 364 days. That's how long the Hurricanes men's basketball team went between ACC wins. That changed last Saturday when Notre Dame came from South Bend to South Florida. Let's head over to the Watsco Center to see how the Canes broke the streak. We're starting off well into the first half here. The Canes already down by 8. Blackman swats the ball away. Staten McRae will take it all the way down. He hands it off to Lynn Kidd for the dunk. Great points for the Canes there, coming right off an offensive turnover. But just before the end of the first half, Miami still trailing. Kidd takes the miss. Schwartz makes his way down the court, throws it to Cleveland. He'll make the bucket. The Canes end the first half down 36-25. Going into the second half now, Canes are starting to close the gap. Cleveland driving towards the net, but finds Brandon Johnson wide open past the arc. He makes it in for 3. Just a few possessions later, Miami now tied with Notre Dame. Cleveland pressured by the defense. No time left on the shot clock. What will he do? He makes it in for 2, putting the Canes up past Notre Dame. With just under 2 minutes to go now, it's Ugochukwu with the ball. He finds Kidd, who then puts it in with ease, and that will seal the deal for Miami. Canes take the win 63-57, ending a 10-game losing streak and getting interim head coach Bill Courtney his first win on the job.
This season, Miami basketball has seen many ups and downs. Our Hurricane Hangtime crew is here to give the latest updates on Canes hoops. Guys?
Hello and welcome back to another segment of Hurricane Hangtime. I'm your host, Riley McManus, joined by Gio Alonzo and Tucker Kinney. Starting off, the men's team just came back from a 10-game losing streak. Gio, what do you think was a key factor to this win, and how can they maintain their momentum going forward?
Well, Riley, to understand why this win was so important for Miami's men's basketball team, you have to understand the 10-game losing streak. It was a rough start to conference play, and it was built on a few factors. Number one, Miami turned the ball over 10 times a game, which isn't a winning brand of basketball in the ACC. Defensively, the Canes also struggled, but a main struggle that's kind of flown under the radar, Miami's assist numbers aren't very high. The Hurricanes' leader in assists, is Brandon Johnson, who's a forward who has 1.8 assists per game. It's just not a winning brand of basketball. But against Notre Dame, Miami managed to fix a lot of their flaws and a lot of the errors that they've been making over the past 10 games. The Hurricanes won the turnover battle 12-6, and they also hit a higher percentage of their free throws. Miami knocking in 13 out of 17, and Notre Dame being limited just 2 of 9 from the line. Now Miami's going to have a rough challenge this upcoming Saturday on the road against Louisville. A Louisville team who is 4th in the ACC in scoring offense, and it's led by Chucky Hepburn and Javon Hadley, who are both averaging 15 points a game over the last 10. So it's going to be interesting to see what Miami can do the rest of the way.
Thank you, Gio. Tucker, the women's team fell to Georgia Tech last week. What do you think led to this loss, and what does this mean for the end of their season?
Well, Riley, Miami lost 66-77 against Georgia Tech on Sunday, and I think it came down to 2 big factors. Number one was an inability to protect the basketball. Miami scored 2 points from Georgia Tech's 5 turnovers. Meanwhile, Georgia had 15 points from Miami's 16 turnovers. Number 2, a lack of personnel. Georgia Tech had 20 points coming off the bench, and Miami only had 5. When you combine an inability to be consistent on the fundamentals and a lack of players who can come into a game and change losses into wins, you're going to struggle in a conference like the ACC. Now going forward, they have a hard lineup against Duke, NC State, Florida State, and Notre Dame, all top 4 in the ACC standings. However, I think if they can get their fundamentals down, they can have a good close to the season in their final 3 games and end the season on a high.
Thank you, Tucker. That's all we have time for today. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, guys. Former women's basketball head coach Katie Meyer may have stepped down after last season, but that was far from the end of her time here at the U. Shay McDonald has more.
Katie Meyer was the University of Miami's winningest basketball coach. Now she's a teacher. To her, the job continues to bring excitement.
And to be teaching at this time where so much is changing and we have no idea where it's all going to end up, I'm glad I'm teaching because it's keeping me current too.
Meyer's class studies college sports and how they're run in a landscape that's constantly changing.
Well, it's hard. I remember when they said, okay, well, find a textbook. And I'm like, well, how could there be a textbook right now?
Instead of relying on a textbook, Meyer relies on years of experience watching college sports change firsthand. Together, the class analyzes new developments, like with the House v. NCAA lawsuit, the $2.78 billion case for former college athletes looking to get paid. In cases like these, Meyer asks the big questions.
So, $2 million, but who decides the value, right?
Keeping up to date with all these changes helps students know what's going on in the field that they want to pursue. Meyer's guest speakers also help accomplish this. Accompanying their discussion of DEI was Latoya Ferris, an associate AD for the university.
Leadership, just because to me that's what it really is about. It's just like helping people and making them feel like they have a place to be and belonging and inclusion.
All of these experiences help prepare her students for working in the sports world. Even her fun activities, like their current task to argue for a top 16 and bubble team for the women's college bracket.
You're going to have an opinion, and you're going to have to figure out whether or not you can speak it. It's not just, I lecture to you, you spit out the answers on a test. Like, represent yourself.
As the world of college sports continue to take shape and remain unpredictable, whether it's about discussing NIL, DEI, or analyzing bracket building, Meyer is always passionate about her class.
I've always wanted to take someone from where they are and improve them. I mean, that's been my whole life. Like, here you are, here's where you need to go. I've actually been here, so let's work together in this gap and like grow and learn and everything else. And it's like, I'm trying to open doors for you all that I've walked through that made my life awesome, and I just want to, and I did that with my players, and now I get to do it with my students.
UMTV, Shay McDonald.
The WNBA season is still a few months away, but some of the league's brightest stars are back in action right here in Miami. Max Keller is live at Wayfair Arena with more. Max, is tonight going to be a slam dunk?
Rivaled is a brand new 3-on-3 women's basketball league created by WNBA stars Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier. The best part for Miami residents, the games take place right here in their backyard. The inaugural season is underway with the first games being played just 3 weeks ago. Tonight, fans can look forward to a doubleheader here at the Wayfair Arena with the Lunar Owls taking on the Phantom, and later on, the Mist will battle the Rose. With players like Brittany Griner and Angel Reese joining the league, WNBA fans will be able to watch their favorite players during the offseason. Unrivaled has broadcast deals with True TV and TNT while also streaming on Max. The league already has plans to expand across the country by next season, and with big-name players in the league, this feels like a slam dunk for everybody involved. Reporting for UMTV, I'm Max Keller.
Thank you, Max. Coming up, our Inside Pitch crew is live in studio to talk all things Canes baseball ahead of their season opener. All that and more when Sports Desk returns.
I like to eat apples and bananas. I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Canes baseball season is just 1 week away, and our Inside Pitch team is live in studio to break down how the Canes can rebound following a disappointing 2024 season. Guys.
Thanks, guys. Welcome to Inside Pitch. I'm your host, Ashley Friedland, joined by analyst Jake Baum. And although baseball season hasn't started yet, I think it's about time we dive right in, especially since we start 1 week from today. But we can't talk about this season without talking about last season. Jake, what went wrong last season?
Well, the Canes were primed for a poor 2024 after losing so many guys after the 2023 season to the MLB draft, more than any in recent memory. But I want to talk about some of the reasons they got to that point. They were 12th in the ACC in batting average out of only 14 teams. They were also 12th in runs. But they weren't getting any help from the pitching, which was 10th by itself in opponent batting average allowed and in pitcher wins. But there's a few reasons to be optimistic about this coming year, but you got to forget about last year and focus on the future.
Absolutely, and as you can see on the screen, Daniel Cuvée had a big part last year, and he's expected to make big waves again this season. So let's talk about him a little bit. What does this guy have?
It's exciting to talk about Danny Dingers, especially because this week he was ranked the #1 third baseman in the entire country by D1 Baseball, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the reasons why. Last year, among D1 freshmen, he was first in home runs with 24. He was first in RBIs with 75. He was first in total bases with 170. The Canes need to take advantage of Cuvée while he's here because you never know what's going to happen in today's NIL era.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more, and it's time to introduce Bombs Bets. Jake, what do you have as the keys to success for this upcoming baseball season?
All right, you got to start with the pitching. All right, you got to limit the bullpen usage. Last year, the bullpen was just eating innings. The starters have to go longer. Also, you can't play down to your opponents. Last year in midweek games, they were 6-6 against generally lesser opponents versus the year before when they were so successful, they were 10-3. But most importantly, you got to capitalize on Cuvée. The guys ahead of him, the 1, 2, 3 spot in the lineup, they have to get on base so Danny Dingers can drive them home.
Absolutely. But that is all the time we have for you today. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, guys. The first pitch for Canes baseball might not have happened yet, but that hasn't stopped some other Canes from stepping into the batter's box. John Stanley has the story.
One more. On Monday, University of Miami students got to live in the Canes baseball players' cleats for an afternoon. The school held its annual Student Home Run Derby, giving everyday students the chance to step up to the plate and try to go deep.
I think it's important to allow the team, the players, and the student body to kind of interact a little bit. And in our office, right out here on the field, and they give them a chance to know what it feels like to swing a bat under the lights and stuff like that. So,
more than 30 students participated in the event in front of a crowd of their peers, Miami baseball players and coaches, and even school president Joe Echevarria, who is a big baseball fan.
The baseball program is legendary, not just in Miami, but in the country. So why not have a great time as a student? I think they should be involved in everything. It is part of student life, right? Not just, you got academics first and foremost, but going to athletic events is part of the student experience at a school like the University of Miami.
Students got to meet members of the baseball team as well, including head coach J.D. Arteaga, who appreciates the love that the team gets from the student body.
It's a fun 2.5, 3 hours, a little break from school and studying, and just come out here and have a good time and enjoy some good baseball and cheer the Canes on.
The Student Home Run Derby is open to anyone. Doesn't matter what major you are, what year. Doesn't matter if you've never played baseball before in your life. Anyone can go up and take some hacks. So I think I'm going to go try to test my luck.
I can't say I'm proud of my performance in the batter's box, but the winner of the Derby, Aiden Minnick, took home some Canes merch and can't wait for the baseball season to start.
Obviously a huge fan. Milkshakes are amazing at the stadium. It's just a great environment. Love the stadium, great team, and hope we do well this year.
Thanks, John. From International Women's Day to ACC play, Canes Socials shows that the squads are here to stay. Johnny Mushkin takes us through it all on this very special day. It's time for Behind the Post. Take it away.
Listen, my mom keeps telling me that getting off of social media will be beneficial to my health. But that doesn't really matter on Behind the Post because Miami Hurricanes always have the good vibes going through your screen. So welcome to Behind the Post. I'm Johnny Mushkin, and I'm your host. The Super Bowl is coming up, and I don't know about you guys, but as a New York Giants fan, I'm personally rooting for a flaming meteor to crash into Earth before the game ends. But Canes football is making me feel a little bit better by posting some of these crazy Cam Ward highlights from his time in the orange and green.
Ward seemingly always at the ready. Look at him extending the play, and now downfield, touchdown!
But now that football season is over, Canes baseball is the only thing that's catching my eye. New U Miami president Joe Echeverria was out at the light for their home run derby, cracking dingers and eating empanadas. I think it's clear that Big Joey E is going to be one of the chillest presidents we've ever had at the U. Now, I don't know if there's a full moon, something in the South Bend water, or if Bill Courtney is just that guy. But Canes Hoops finally saw an ACC win in 364 days. Check out this insane dunk from U Miami freshman Divine Ukachukwu. The vibes in this locker room were higher than ever. Congrats, Canes. Looking forward to your next ACC win next year. And finally, for National Girls and Women in Sports Day, Sebastian the Ibis decided to post this flick with Helen Harry, the tambourine player at Chuck E. Cheese, to celebrate. All jokes aside, a ton of teams from volleyball to swim, from tennis to soccer, all posted to celebrate their players. Shout out to all the women who make Miami Hurricanes athletics so special. Well, I gotta get going. I promised President Echeverria I'd grab some empanadas with him. But when you see my face on SportsDesk, just know you're about to get all the goods from Canes social media. I'm Johnny Mushin, and I just took all of you behind the post. Back to y'all.
Thanks, Johnny. When SportsDesk returns, our O Sports crew breaks down the bounce back from men's tennis and some academically honored Canes. But first, it's time for some trivia. The Chiefs and Eagles face off Sunday night in Super Bowl 59. But how many former Canes have played in the big game? Is it A, 65, B, 93, C, 118, or D, 125? The answer when SportsDesk returns.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable. The sad reality is fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kitchen now.
I mean, it's Super Bowl time. I gotta know what are your two picks?
Shay, obviously have to go with the Eagles. Cannot root for the Chiefs after what happened against the
Understandable.
Bills.
I mean, I love an underdog win, but
Welcome back. If you guessed D, you're correct. Miami has 125 Super Bowl player appearances, the second most of all time, right behind the University of Michigan.
men's tennis is thriving while golf, not so much. Ariel Lopez and Luca Mucciardi bring us all the details on all of UM's Olympic sports on this week's O Sports Roundup. Guys.
What's up, Canes? Welcome back to another edition of the O Sports Roundup. I'm Luca Mucciardi.
And I'm Ariel Lopez. The tennis team ended up in the win column last week. Luca, why don't you tell us about it?
Well, Ariel, men's tennis earned a 5-2 victory over USF at home last week. The Canes would sweep the doubles at matches and then go 4 for 6 in the singles. Martin Katz moved up to 62nd in the nation in singles, while him and Antonio Pratt moved up to 82nd in the doubles rankings. Swim and dive earned some accolades in the classroom this past week, Ariel. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yes, Luca, the swim and dive team was awarded the Scholar All-American team by the CSCAA. To earn this prestigious recognition, the team had to maintain above a 3.0 GPA for the fall 2024 semester. Luca, I heard that the soccer team announced who they're playing in the spring. Who are they?
Well, Ariel, the Canes will start their action March 1st against USF before taking on some other in-state rivals like FIU, FGCU, and UCF throughout March and April in their preseason warm-ups. Canes golf was out on the West Coast taking in the sun this past weekend, Ariel. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yes, Luca, the golf team placed 13th out of 16 teams at the Therese Hessian Regional Challenge in Palos Verdes Estates, California. Miami will return to action at the Mountain View Collegiate from March 2nd through March 4th in Arizona.
That's all the time we have for this edition of the O Sports Roundup. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, guys. Last summer, one Cane took his talents from the 305 to the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris. Dylan Davis sat down with Canes diver Mohamed Farouk on this week's edition of Athlete of the Week. Dylan.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Athlete of the Week. I'm your host, Dylan Davis, and today from Canes Swim and Dive, I'm joined with Mohamed Farouk. Mohamed, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me today.
Of course, thank you for joining us. So can you tell me a little bit about how you started diving and how you started to swim?
Okay, so I started swimming when I was like 3 or 4 years old, and I've always watched the divers just go off the diving boards and do all these cool tricks. So I asked my parents if I could just go over there and try, and that's pretty much how it started.
Wow, that's incredible. I also heard that you were in the 2024 Paris Olympics and you represented Egypt, your country. How was that experience?
It was honestly one of the best experiences of my life. It's always been my dream ever since I was a kid. So just being there in the Olympic Village and the dining hall with all the athletes from all over the world, and going to the Olympic pool and competing was. I can't put it into words. It was awesome. Yeah.
I can't imagine that. And I kind of want to switch gears and talk about your college career. So you went to the University of Alabama, and then you transferred here to the University of Miami. How has that transition been, and how do you like it here at Miami?
I honestly love it here a lot more than I did in Alabama. And when I was trying to transfer, I didn't think I had a shot at coming here at all, just because the program is like top 3 programs in the country. But I decided to shoot my shot and called the coach, and I was surprised by him offering me a full scholarship, so I kind of just took it right away, and I've been enjoying it here a lot. It's been awesome working hard at the pool and outside of the pool. It's been great.
That's amazing. Well, I wish you the best in your journey here at Miami. Thank you for joining us.
Appreciate it.
And that's all we have for this week's edition of Athlete of the Week. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Dylan. Still ahead on SportsDesk, the Canes aren't taking the court or the field, but they're hitting the ice. Regina Potenza is live from Kendall Ice Arena when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
Today, thousands of kids start vaping. And I can't let this happen to my kid. Of course, it's awkward to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping. Hey, bestie, how sketch is vaping? It's hard to get their attention. Ready? Go. Yes, look at that. You even turn yours over. So if you want to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping, you have to get it trending. Right, Backpack Kid?
Let's do it.
First, invite your kid to do the vape talk. Let's try this. All right.
Why is he here?
Yeah, I gotta get it trending, honey.
Come on.
To the left. To the right. Let's go.
Oh, honey, can we talk?
Yeah, what's up?
I see a lot of your friends vaping.
Visit talkaboutvaping.org for tips on when and how to have the vape talk.
The NFL Honor Ceremony was held last night in New Orleans, and the MVP award held some controversy. with Josh Allen beating out Lamar Jackson by only a few votes. However, coming off of a very successful season, Allen was more than deserving of this award. During his acceptance speech, Allen noted that this is more than just an award for himself, but a team award for the entire team. This was a very special night for both Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills.
The men's hockey team, Division II and III teams will face off against Florida Southern and the University of Florida tonight. Regina Potenza is live at the Kendall Ice Arena for senior night for both teams. Regina, what is the energy like at the rink?
For away teams, hostile crowds, unfriendly gestures, and relentless chants are all part of the game.
The atmosphere here is amazing. It's one of the hardest barns to play in College Hockey South. There'll be a lot of fans here, especially on Greek night tonight. Really amazing atmosphere, really loud, very boisterous, lots of fun to be around.
But when Miami faced off against Embry-Riddle, they were not only up against the home crowd, but also a longtime rival that wasn't even on the ice.
I hate Miami, everything about Miami. You got no football stadium, no seasons. I hate Miami.
FSU's club hockey team was playing after Miami, but they weren't just passively watching. They saw an opportunity to turn the crowd against their rivals and took it.
I was doing the war chant a little bit. Maybe we'll start and get the Embry-Riddle fans doing the FSU war chant, make it fun for them.
For Miami players, the noise is just that. They're representing something more.
I know they're loud and mean and whatever, but it all comes down to the letters on our chests.
But Miami wasn't completely alone. A few dedicated fans stood their ground, including some of the youngest supporters in the arena.
They're like, oh, you can't make it up and go. You couldn't make it from half either.
Others were just there for the love of the game.
The game is at a good stalemate, I can't lie. I'm losing my voice, so y'all bear with me.
And for some, the intensity between periods was just as memorable as the action on the ice.
Because I like to see people fight.
While the outcome of the game is determined by the players, the fans who show up dictate the atmosphere and set the tone for every play that happens out on the ice. Regina Potenza, UMTV.
John Collins is one of the high flyers in the NBA, and Monday night he lived up to that title. Let's take it to Delta Center for this week's Play of the Day. The Jazz are up 23-12 against the Pacers with a few minutes left in the first quarter, and Jordan Clarkson made an impressive pass to John Collins, who then made an alley-oop. It was a phenomenal play by Collins, and he most certainly lived up to that title of making all those slam dunks. The Pacers did finish out this game here, beating the Jazz 112-111, and that is your Play of the Day.
Our very own executive producer, Taryn Jacobs, ran the Miami Lifetime Half Marathon on Sunday, and she absolutely killed it. Now let's see those action shots. I mean, look at her. She is not even breaking a sweat, does not even lose any breath. I mean, this is just so impressive. Running 13.1 miles in that Miami heat and humidity is no easy feat. And of course, our other EP, Delaney Haddad, had to come out to support, along with tons of SportsDesk alumni. I mean, I traveled 5 hours to watch you run. How sweet of him.
Hurry up so we can drink. This is so funny. These are so cute. Taryn's making me want to run a half marathon now. I want to sign up.
No, it's seriously so inspiring. I mean, the amount of training that takes is unbelievable.
So much training. Taryn, we're so proud of you. That is an amazing accomplishment. Well, that's all the time we have for this episode of Sports Desk.
We'll be back next week at 7 p.m. Have a good night.